Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome to another Mortal Kombat 11 video. Now today I'll be talking about Shang Tsung, and the multiple and different ways he can actually return in the next Mortal Kombat game. Now first off, what are the chances of him returning? As let's face it, he was killed off. As during the events of MK9, he's turned into pure energy by Shao Kahn and is infused with Sindel. But one thing that is always certain in the Mortal Kombat universe is that you can't keep a good fighter down, and with Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance around the corner, it'd be a shame to not have one of the two iconic sorcerers be in the game, seeing as the other one was recently just killed off. But first off, let's talk about the chances of him returning. Well, they are actually extremely high, and it's not just due to the fact that he did miss out on one game. You see, Shang Tsung was hinted at in multiple different arcade ladder endings, which all did result in the apparent return of the sorcerer. Now no, arcade ladder endings are never ever really solid in stone, but that isn't to say there's some form of truth to them, because in many different arcade ladder endings, they do tend to give us a rough idea of what we can see in the future. And if we do see that apparent arcade ladder ending be featured in multiple different character endings, then the likelihood and chance of said event happening becomes much larger, especially since he features in Erron Black's ending, Raiden's ending, Ermac's ending, and even Johnny Cage's ending. Along with that, in Cassie Cage's ending, she's sent on a mission by Raiden to track down the sorcerer, as he's apparently come back to life. So I believe from these multiple and different arcade ladder endings that his return is imminent. But how exactly will he come back? As let's face it, it's the Mortal Kombat universe, there's lots of options of them actually coming back, but how exactly will it be done? And how exactly will it be done well? Well, let's talk about some of the possibilities we have here. What's the possibility of him returning as a Revenant? Well, it would be extremely unlikely, as for one, we don't actually see him be resurrected during the events of Mortal Kombat 9, when Quan Chi shows up the lineup of Revenants he now has under his influence, and it does seem like Shang Tsung was out of Quan Chi's hands, as his soul was infused with Sindel. So the likelihood of him returning in some kind of weird Revenant form is definitely something I don't see happening, because Quan Chi was the only necromancer to exist in the first 3 Mortal Kombat games. And if we hadn't seen Shang Tsung up to this point, then the likelihood of him being a Revenant of Quan Chi isn't in the realm of possibility at all. However, another idea that does actually make sense is whether or not Onaga is involved in Mortal Kombat 11. For those of you who aren't too familiar with the 3D era of the Mortal Kombat games, when Onaga returned after the Deadly Alliance killed multiple Earthrealm warriors, Onaga was able to resurrect all of those individuals and put them under his will. And unlike Quan Chi, Onaga is such a strong necromancer that when he brings individuals back from the dead, he doesn't just bring them back as revenants, but does so as actual human beings. So he has the ability to bring the dead back to life in a very literal sense. However, the main problem with this idea is that Onaga hasn't been established in the new timeline, but has been established through the MKX comics. So if Onaga does appear in Mortal Kombat 11, his appearance here might seem like something that's really out of place, since there's been no build up to him in game. Plus, in the new timeline, the somewhat stinger we get in the post-credit scenes tend to give us a rough idea of what we can see in the next game, and it has also been hinted at multiple times that the main villain of Mortal Kombat 11 will be Dark Raiden. So Dark Raiden will have his own story arc where he's seemingly locking horns with Outworld. Plus, the inclusion of Onaga could actually kind of hurt the story. It may kind of take away the danger factor that Dark Raiden does have, as well as possibly feel like a cheap cash-in of a character that really deserves his own story arc and game. As let's face it, it's Onaga. The guy deserves an entire game dedicated to him if he's gonna be the main villain. So like I said, the inclusion of him in here may be a little bit jarring, so hopefully if they don't include him here, he'll be put off later, but in saying that, that means that Shang Tsung also won't return till much later. So that means that there will be other possibilities of how Shang Tsung will be able to return. Now let's talk about the most obvious one that we definitely have seen, and that's the one we see in Ermac's MKX arcade ladder ending, where after he's searching a bunch of tombs, he is attacked by an individual, that being Shang Tsung, that drains him of his souls. Now since Ermac consists of many different souls, it's very possible to believe that one of them turned against him and actually drained Ermac of his own power, which I would say is indeed possible in the realm of Mortal Kombat, because I mean it's a universe where I can pit a reptile man against a dragon man, but Ermac has always consisted of thousands of souls, with Ermac himself notably talking about who actually exists in him.
I sense Shao Kahn in you. Power Creator is part of us.
So I will say that something like this is indeed in the realm of possibility, but I also thought that this doesn't really add up. As for one, Shao Kahn is the one to create Ermac, and two, Shang Tsung's soul is infused with Sindel's life force. So I began to ponder to myself, how important would someone like Sindel actually be to the game? You can probably get where I'm going with this, but I believe that if Shang Tsung is going to return, it will ultimately be through Sindel. As let's face it, at this point in the story, Sindel has been relegated to what is not only a side character, but a side character. She doesn't exactly play a pivotal role in the games, and she's certainly not quite as popular as Ermac in character pools. So I believe that they're going to kill off Sindel, as she houses the soul of Shang Tsung, and have him be brought to life that way. But I don't think it's gonna end just there, as we'll most likely see a Shang Tsung that is deprived of energy, which would line up with Ermac's ending, so he would go after Ermac and drain him of his energy. Now whether or not this actually does kill Ermac is something that we have to leave on the table here. Personally, I'd like to keep that character around, but it would also be kind of interesting to see if Shang Tsung adopted his moveset if the variation system does return. There's a number of factors here, but personally I wouldn't want to see Ermac die. Now if that is the case, it would actually in fact line up with his Mortal Kombat 9 ending. Instead of me actually explaining it, I'm going to play it in its entirety and show you all how this actually plays into my idea.
Overwhelmed by his newfound sorcery, he fled to Outworld. Moments before suicide, Shang Tsung was visited by Boraicho. The mentor of warriors offered to teach him to control the dark magic, but for a special purpose. Liu Kang had become a god. The power had corrupted him, transforming him into a tyrant. He needed to be stopped. After rigorous training, Shang Tsung mastered the one technique that could finish Liu Kang. Vengeance would finally be his.
So from what you can tell, this does line up with my idea and how the story actually kind of works. Because where we are in the current timeline is that Kitana and Liu Kang are the ruthless rulers of the Netherrealm. And since they are revenants, their nature is inherently quite evil. Plus, Shang Tsung has always had a rivalry with Liu Kang. So if the two were to duke it out, it wouldn't seem out of place. And on top of that, in Mortal Kombat X, in Boraicho's arcade ladder ending, he's seen training many of Outworld's warriors as they prepare for Earthrealm's invasion. So this could actually apply to Shang Tsung as well, because if he drains Ermac of his soul energy after being out of action for so long, then it's understandable that he himself might not be able to control it. So this is definitely an idea I can see come to fruition, and it even goes to show that this idea has been planned so far back to that of MK9. So that in itself would be really cool to see come to fruition. But of course this video in itself is just a bunch of ideas and give us all a bunch of options and ideas of how this character can be brought back. All I could know, and the rest might just say, hey, let's just bring him back. I have no reason, just bring him back, which would be soul shattering. But yeah, that does wrap it up for the Shang Tsung video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed this and come away learning a little bit more. Now if you have some really interesting ideas of your own, please put them down in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what everyone has to say on this, because if we get a conversation going, who knows, we may actually hear an idea that actually does come to fruition. But yeah, thanks again, guys. Now before this video does wrap up, I do want to say thank you for all of the Mortal Kombat 11 support. I really do appreciate you guys coming to my channel, watching my content, and giving me some really positive feedback. I really do appreciate it. Also, just a heads up that on Saturday I will be doing another Mortal Kombat video where I'll be comparing Shao Kahn to Kotal Kahn and talking about who is the better ruler. So please do keep an eye out for that. Now before this video wraps up, guys, if possible, let's try getting it to about 500 likes. It's a great way of helping out this channel since YouTube's ad system is broken as hell. So by giving it a thumbs up, it helps out a ton. And if you want to go the extra step, we also have a Patreon set up, and a link for it will be down in the description below. Anyway, guys, as always, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.